Hi, I'm Larry from Pelican.
And I'm Trevor from Pelican.
And we're at Amoeba.
And we're going to show you what's in our bag. Plural, bags.
Bags.
I picked the new album by Low. I feel like on each of their records, they have a song that's so good that it seems like you've heard it before. There's just a quality to it that is just really comforting. Always trying to work it out. That's the one on this record for sure. Some of the more experimental records that they've done, like Ones and Sixes and Drums and Guns, kind of take the sound to a totally interesting, different place than anybody else kind of goes. The new one is definitely tapping into that.
I'll just start with the Jesus Lizard, the Goat record, my favorite record by them. The rhythm section's like one of my favorite rhythm sections of a band, and it's like classic Steve Albini drum sound. And this is the remastered one. I haven't heard it remastered. I used to have the original, so bringing it back home. I saw them years ago at the Metro, and it's like still one of my favorite shows of all time. I think David Yowley broke his rib the night I saw him. Jesus. Yeah, I like jumped in the crowd, and then they were playing again the next night. And if I have the story right, the second night he came out with like a chair, and the band had asked him to like just play from the chair. And I think it was by the end of the first song, the chair was like thrown, and he was back in the crowd, and it's like, wow, that's insane.
Every single player in Jesus.
Yeah, that's the thing about that band is like the whole band, each player is like so great in their own way. They're just not like anything else.
I picked out this Heat Live 80 to 81 reissue. Like an experimental post-punk band from the UK in the late 70s and early 80s. I'm a big fan of all of their studio albums. I haven't heard any of their live stuff, so I was just intrigued. A lot of their stuff has been reissued over the years, but I think I've got it all at this point. So
I'm gonna go with another 90s classic, the second Sunny Day Real Estate record. Love William Goldsmith. I think his drumming on this record is super innovative and not like anything else, and I think the remaster brought the drums out even more. This is the reissue. It's got 2 bonus tracks that are also really great.
That's the record that I learned weird time signatures from. Like there's that song on there, 5/4. Yeah. But then like if you start counting the beat in other songs on it, it's like there's so many weird meters and time signatures on that record.
It's a really strange album, and the whole backstory on it's pretty cool about the breakup and how he didn't have lyrics, and it just sounds like it was like the band was totally falling apart, but you know, it's a really cool record.
But they pulled out an amazing record out of
definitely.
it. Yeah. I tracked down a copy of the Halloween 3 soundtrack, which is far and away my favorite John Carpenter record. I've been looking for it on vinyl for some time, so I'm very stoked. He was collaborating a lot during that period with a synth artist called Alan Howarth, if I am pronouncing that right. I feel like a lot of John's soundtracks are very like melody or riff driven, whereas this one is just very weird and spectral and really unsettling stuff.
like a goldfish.
Company town.
I'll go with my favorite Fugazi record. It's just such a great album, start to finish, the energy, the songwriting.
That was the first one I bought by them too. It's just like such a good introduction to how experimental you can go with punk music.
I wish they were still a band.
I picked up the reissue of OK Computer by Radiohead.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I almost bought that.
I have the original album, but this reissue collects all of the B-sides, some of which are as good, if not better, than the album tracks. And then there's also 3 unreleased songs. Radiohead is a favorite band of mine, and I think of everybody in Pelican pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just a game changer.
Yeah, totally. I mean, every single band bought a delay pedal after they heard that record.
Definitely. We were all playing in like hardcore bands and stuff, and it was like okay to like start using delay pedals and stuff after that. I'll talk about Quicksand, a favorite band of mine, also from the 90s, but this is their new album, their comeback record. Slip is like in my top 5 albums of all time, and Alan Cage is one of my favorite drummers. He was one of the reasons I started playing drums when I was like, 15 when Slip came out, and I saw him a few times when I was a teenager and just like gravitated to his playing, and he's just a really unique player, really solid. Also plays Ludwig,
I went deep into the record nerd wormhole on this one. This is the single Warm Leatherette by The Normal.
Hear the crushing steel, feel the steering wheel, warm leatherette.
The first release on Mute Records, which was a label that was integral to the formation of industrial music in the UK in the early 80s. And in fact, this is Daniel Miller, who ran the label. It was his project. This is really minimalistic synth punk that kind of like set the groundwork for some of the industrial that was to come. Yeah, I very occasionally do DJ sets, and the last time I DJ'd, I wanted to play Warm Leatherette, and I just didn't have it on vinyl, so I saw this and I was like, next time.
My last one is a Deftones record, one of my favorite bands. Might be my favorite record by them. Also has Sergio from Quicksand playing bass on this one. It's a unique record for them because I think it's like when the guitar player got really obsessed with Meshuggah, if I have the story right. So he has a drop tune, like 8-string, I think, guitar. So that there's just like super, super heavy tones on this album. And Abe Cunningham, he's also another favorite drummer of mine. So if I had to pick a favorite record by them, this is probably the one.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeehaw!